So we continue talking about this zombies reveal because there's a lot to talk about, and we haven't even got to everything. But for now, we are going to be talking about all of the features that have been revealed to us so far in relation to this zombies game, and we're going to be talking about those, breaking them down and giving a small opinions on things here and there, but overall just really going through these. But of course, like I said, there's a lot of things that we got to talk about in this zombies reveal. I've already made reaction videos, still need to talk about the story, so all those videos, if you guys haven't checked them out, go ahead and check them out. There'll be links during this video, and also just click on my channel to find them yourself. But either way, let's start talking about these features, because there are some very interesting features inside this game. And the first one I want to talk about is the perk system, because thank goodness the old perk system is back, except it's even better, because not only is it back with all the perks that we want, like jug and stuff like that, which we'll talk about all the perks that we've seen so far in a little bit, but more than that, it's even better because there is no perk limit anymore. And oh my gosh, thank you, Treyarch, for that, because I've been saying the way to fix the problem with the old perk system is just to get rid of the perk limit, and that's what they did, and I'm just glad to see that's the case. No more perk limit is a godsend, so heck yeah for that. But the perks that we did see, we saw Juggernog, we saw Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Deadshot Daiquiri, and finally Elemental Pop. Now they gave us a small description of what Elemental Pop does, but I'm not entirely sure. But let me just read it off. It's really short, and they just said it modifies your ammo type in a pinch. Now what that could mean, like, the only thing that pops in my head is, if you guys played IW Zombies, is Change Shoes, where you would just get, like, I guess kind of like the double pack punch abilities from Black Ops 3, except you'd get them through your perk, and that's what it kind of sounds like. But at the same time, it says you can modify it on a pinch, so you're not really getting it from the perk, but it's modifying it, and that's what really throws me off with this perk, and I'm not exactly sure what it does, but you know, there's that. But the next feature I want to talk about, and this one I think at first I was very concerned about, or not very, but I thought was just kind of a dumb feature, but then when I actually heard about it and actually got them to explain it to me exactly how this works, I actually really like this feature. And what it's called is Exfil. And what this does, instead of just ending the game by just dying because you just died, or you let yourself die, or whatever it may be, you can instead choose to now Exfil. But it's not as simple as it sounds. You don't just decide to Exfil and the game ends, because what you got to do, you have to call in a helicopter to come pick you up. But it doesn't get there instantly, and it takes a couple while. We don't exactly know how long, but it takes a while for the helicopter to actually get there to pick you up. But in that time that it takes to pick you up from where you chose to do Exfil to when the helicopter gets there, the zombie spawns are dialed up to 11, as they said. And it gets really hard to survive till this helicopter gets there. And if you can survive, Treyarch said you could expect to see some rewards. And this is something that I really like, because it gives you, you know, like the second option. Like, if you just don't want to die to end your game, you can do Exfil and the game's over, right? You have that. But more than that, it's really cool because it's a challenge at that, because it's challenging to get this Exfil. Like, you can't just choose Exfil instead of, it's just like not a nice or fancy way to end the game. This actually gives you a challenge to end the game in a different way, and I really, really do like this. And on top of that, they did, like I said, say to expect some rewards from this. So I'm very, very interested in seeing exactly how this is handled, but I think it looks like a really, really cool feature, and I can't wait to see this in like full gameplay, because I'd like to see what they really mean by zombie spawns are dialed up to 11. And I'm also curious, like, can you do this at the start of the game, or can you only do this at a certain point through the game? A couple questions, but overall, I think it's going to be a great addition to the game. The next thing I want to talk about is support equipment, because this support equipment seems very interesting, because we have two, I guess, new sorts of things that we could use in this, and we'll get to the other one in a little bit. But first one is support equipment. Now, the known support equipment that we saw, rather, that it was in one of the trailers or something like that, or that they just straight told us about, are a grenade launcher, a sentry turret, explosive bows, and chopper gunner. Now, to talk about those, we did see the grenade launcher inside the zombies trailer. It was just normal stuff. Sentry gun, normal stuff. Chopper gunner, you know, that's not too normal, but you know, that's a thing. But they also say explosive bows, and are we just going to randomly pull out the bow from the Rocket, or what does it mean by that? But either way, I do find it interesting that we are getting like the sentry turns and chopper gunner and streaks like that in zombies. Personally, I don't really know how useful a chopper gunner could be inside zombies maps, especially in this map specifically, because there's only like one area that we saw that was outside. So, you know, to me, it seems like, I guess streaks are just going to be a thing that are in the game, but no one uses them, because to this day, I've never really seen where streaks have really been useful. I think they were in Exo Zombies, and I know some people use them, but I'm not the biggest fan of the idea, so, you know, I just can't imagine, unless it's forcing me to use them, I don't think I will plan to use those. But overall, support equipment looks interesting, but how you actually get it is rather that it's found or crafted. So, you know, that's cool. At least you don't just pop up with a chopper gunner through your loadout, which is something we'll get to in a little bit. But the next thing I want to talk about, and this was the other thing I mentioned, is field upgrades. And we didn't really see any field upgrades, or they didn't really tell us about any of them, but I think we saw one during the trailer, and we'll get to that. But what they said inside the blog post is that field upgrades could be offensive buffs, aid in evasion, and reviving. Now, those could definitely mean a lot of things. Offensive buffs, maybe that just is something like we saw inside, what's that game called? World War II Zombies, where you had an ability that you could activate, then you do double damage with your weapons or something like that. And then evasion, not sure, reviving, maybe something like that. But I do think we saw one during the trailer. I'll play the spot for you now. But as you can see, this character is like glowing, so that's not normal. And obviously when we see their actual POV, you can see that it looks different from them, and also the zombies aren't chasing them. So what I'm assuming field upgrades are, they're going to be things like the gobblegums we've seen in the past. I could be mistaken in this, but I think that's what's going on here. I think we're going to see in plain sight return as a field upgrade or something like that. So I could be wrong. Maybe this is something else entirely. Maybe the replacement for gobblegums isn't going to be field upgrades, and what we're seeing here is something different altogether. But from what it sounds is that this is what field upgrades are going to be, because offensive buffs, you know, aid in evasion and reviving. So, you know, that's the only thing I could really think that, at least that they've said so far, that this, what we saw inside the trailer, could possibly be maybe an in plain sight field upgrade. So there's that. The next one I want to talk about is weapon rarity, and this is confusing to me still. Like, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time, because what weapon rarity does is that for normal weapons, it could give you more attachments and more damage to your gun. And something they said about it is that any gun can become a super weapon or something like that using if you get the right weapon rarity. And it kind of at times makes it sound like it's random if you get a really rare weapon, or that you have to upgrade it yourself. And keep in mind, this is different from Pack-a-Punch. Like, they said that this is different from Pack-a-Punch. Pack-a-Punch is going to be its own thing, but then there's going to be weapon rarity that's going to also do other things. And I think we saw a glimpse of this, and it's during the trailer where we saw the player get the wonder weapon out of the box, where you see that at first the box is glowing white, but once he got the wonder weapon, it was glowing gold to let them know it's a super rare weapon. So this furthers the idea that you don't craft your, I guess, higher rarity weapons, and you just have to be lucky and get them. But then at the same time, they say you can get them from wall buys. So we're going to have further explanation on how this works. Like, how do you get higher weapon rarities? Or is this something you just randomly get, or do you have to craft, or you have to upgrade? Maybe Pack-a-Punch is involved in some way or another, but it's a real weird one. Not entirely sure how it's going to work, but overall, the idea of it is that any weapon can be useful even into high rounds. And personally, I'm all for that. That's kind of what we had in Black Ops 3. I liked it then, and I'd like to see it return, and now again inside Cold War Zombies. But anyways, the next few things aren't as important, but they're worth mentioning too. And this is cross progression between Zombies, Multiplayer, and Warzone. If you play any of them, you'll upgrade your level, your battle pass. All of them will be connected and they'll upgrade together. So you know, there's that. It's cool. I mean, it's fine. Don't really care too much about this. I couldn't be really asked to really name the difference between games that have connected progression between their modes and not. So, you know, I know some people like this, some people don't, but you know, it is what it is. Not really going to say anything. One thing I do like is the connected progression between the battle pass. Not too sure about the cross progression between just your overall level, but definitely the battle pass stuff is good to see, because that was a huge complaint during Black Ops 4. The second to last thing worth mentioning in relation to gameplay features is that you can choose a loadout before the game starts. And the only thing they mention that comes with this loadout is that you could spawn with a gunsmith crafted gun of your choice. So you could choose pretty much any gun. I think you could choose any AR and SMG that they had mentioned. I don't think you could spawn with an LMG, but I could be mistaken on that. But at least from what they said, they only mentioned an SMG and an AR. So, you know, there's that thing. I personally am worried about this feature solely because, like, I think it could possibly take away from, you know, that feeling that we really like in zombies that we had up until Black Ops 4, where when you spawn into the map, you know, you feel very vulnerable, like all you have is a pistol, right? And that's all you have, literally 500 points in a pistol, and you have to like get from that all the way to having 2 pack-a-punch wonder weapons with 6 perks and just, you know, all this crazy stuff. So, you know, I hope it doesn't really hurt that. I hope it doesn't make the same problem that happened during Black Ops 4 with the Strife and the different guns you could spawn with there. But we'll have to wait and see. But it does make me slightly concerned. But I'm sure there's going to be other things you could spawn in with your loadout. Maybe that's where your field upgrades come from. Maybe that's where something else, your lethal equipment, tactical equipment, or something like that. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Of course, well, I guess we'll have to wait to find out more. But finally, the last thing that I want to mention, and the reason I'm mentioning it last is because we literally know nothing about it besides it exists. And what it is what they said is discoverable loot. Now, what discoverable loot really is, I don't know. I don't think it's parts around the map. I don't think it's that. I think obviously they wouldn't call those discoverable loots. Everyone calls them parts. So I think that's different, but they didn't really say what discoverable loot is. Maybe this is what you use to craft your support equipment, maybe? I'm not entirely sure, but I will say one thing while watching through the trailer frame by frame, and then also watching all the other clips that we got separately from the trailer frame by frame, I did see when somebody killed a zombie, it seemed like at least something popped out of the zombie. I'll have it on screen now. I'm not sure what that looks like, but maybe that's what the discoverable loot is. And even if it is, I can't really make out what it is. So yeah, but either way, that's it for the features that were revealed to us today. And you know what? I'm liking most of it. Like, by far, the old perk system being back without a perk limit, amazing. The new Exfil system, amazing. Support equipment, you know, it's interesting. We'll have to see how that works out. Field upgrades seem cool, and weapon rarity, we have to have further explanation on. But either way, I think it's overall pretty cool. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this down in the comments. But that's about it for me. If you guys did enjoy the video and you are excited for Cold War Zombies and you want to see more content, then definitely do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go. I'll catch you guys next stream, video, or whatever the heck it may be. And laters, guys.